Hey everyone, this is Preeti here, and today I'm going to review Miracle on Fifth Avenue by Sarah Morgan because it's a very holiday, very Christmassy romance read, and it is Christmas almost and very holiday and snow. It actually snowed the past few days, which was amazing, and so it's the perfect time to read it, and that's why I was in the mood and that's why I read it. It was exactly what I was looking for at this point in time. I didn't feel like watching a movie, but I felt like watching one of the Christmas movies in a book form, and sometimes I have difficulty finding something that fits the bill like that, but this one did, and I'm so glad. Just to get more into the spirit of things, I'm going to be sucking on this candy cane, so hopefully that entertains you because I don't know, why would that be entertaining? I'm just hungry. I'm hungry. Yeah, that's basically why. But one of the first things I loved about this book was the main character, Lucas. He was an author, and ever since I read The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson, I've been a teeny bit obsessed with author characters, especially when they're the love interest. And to be fair, this is only the second book where I've read one where the main character's special someone is an author, but it works for me every single time. So Lucas is actually a recluse of an author, and he writes crime mystery novels, and they sell really, really well. And of course, he only started writing them after the death of his wife, and so they're kind of very dark and twisted, and they kind of overshadow how he sees the world. So while Eva, our main character, is the optimist and the bright ray of sunshine, and she doesn't want to be a rain cloud on anyone's day, Lucas is the exact opposite, and I guess the whole opposites attract thing kind of worked out for them. And actually how they first meet is Eva is going into his apartment to decorate it for Christmas and put some food in the fridge as per request of his grandmother. And so what nobody knows is that Lucas was actually in his apartment the entire time. He didn't go to Venice like he was supposed to write his novel. And in fact, he's actually in a book slump, which I'm sure many people can... Not a book slump, sorry. I am constantly in a book slump. No, he was having writer's block. And so he was having difficulties and he was cranky. Christmas time gets him depressed because that's when his wife died. So he was just sulking around his house, and then Eva comes in, and like for some reason none of them turn the lights on, so he thinks that she's an intruder. She thinks that he's an intruder, so she calls 911 and she's like, there's a person in here. And he's like, well, actually he doesn't panic. He just kind of like tackles her using his jujitsu, which I don't know, apparently crime authors know this, or him. Clearly he researches his work very well. But yeah, and so while he was tackling her, Eva has some very, very non-violent thoughts and more OMG so hot thoughts, and I can't say that my mind was going in a different direction. I really love the main character Eva because what made her so special and why I really identified with her was because her views on love are exactly the same as mine. So she hasn't really experienced true love yet, but she wants to find her perfect Prince Charming, except less sexist and less stalkery, which is how Lucas describes him, which honestly I can't disagree with because yes, he does go searching the entire land for her. I mean, if she ran away in real life, there would probably be a good reason for it. And so while Lucas is on the side of, gosh darn it, I wish I never loved at all, Eva is like, no, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And that is definitely my view, and so it was so easy to identify with her, and she was just such a nice perspective to read out of, especially because she lives in New York. But what I loved about her view even more was that, like, people think that she's just the romantic and the optimist and everything, but no, she's actually really practical. For example, she is very aware of the fact that not every guy is a good guy, and in fact, many of them are not good guys. And yes, she wants to find love, but she knows that it's difficult, if not impossible, especially in a city like New York, which is where this whole story takes place. But still, she's an optimist in that she may find it one day and she will look for it, and she's not gonna just be a bystander and wait for it to come to her. No, she's a forward woman, is gonna find it, and I'm like, yes, you go girl, yes. So the pacing in this book was excellent. One of my biggest fears once I started reading was that I was afraid that their entire romance would take place in the penthouse and that they would never leave, because it's winter in New York and there's a snowstorm and transport is stopped and no one's supposed to go out, but that's only for a portion of the book, so Thankfully, Eva has time to storm out when she's angry. Lucas has time to be all emotional when she does storm out, and a whole bunch of good things happen. And I'm just so happy that it didn't all take place in the penthouse, because I need my space from not only all of the characters, but as a reader, I can't be cooped up in such a small area for the entirety of the book. That's just not me. So I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that. For romance novels, at about 50 to 70%, there's a tendency for the plot to just start dragging and for the characters to go through the same problems and not do anything about it and keep it to themselves, and nothing happens for like a good 30%. I usually skim that part, but with this book, I didn't find that problem at all. And it was just really nice to have a decently paced romance, because I don't know, I feel like that's just rare sometimes. It shouldn't be that difficult to find one that is paced correctly, but it is, and I'm glad it was this holiday book that did it, because I really needed a good romance right now. One of the things that definitely helped the plot develop was that because Lucas is a crime author, and the author of this book, Sarah Morgan, was trying to get into his head and kind of really delve into his view on the world, she kind of brought out his aspect into the book, so there were interesting plot twists that you don't see coming, and it just made the book entirely more interesting. And again, like I said, the main character Eva is not a sit back and let the love come to me kind of character. She is just so much better than that, because she definitely goes for what she wants. And like, even in terms of Lucas, when she knows that his heart isn't open right now and he isn't ready for a relationship, and even he might never be, or even if he is, it may not be with her. And so even though she knew all of this, she didn't expect him to fall for her. She fell in love with who she wanted to, whether or not that person could reciprocate her feelings, and I just found that so very brave of her and so very admirable. I know that books try and be forward in terms of their female characters, but a lot of the times, maybe it's just because I read a whole bunch of historical romances, but many times I find that the girl takes a backseat role and expects everything to happen in a fairy tale way. But again, even though Eva is romantic, she is very practical, and she is okay with that. She accepts the consequences of what she wants, and it's just so refreshing. Another thing I loved about this book was, first of all, it takes place in New York, and if you don't know, I am very, very obsessed with New York, so that worked out perfectly. And Lucas had a penthouse, as you probably know, and yay, I like penthouses. Can't lie. The best part, like beyond all of that, is the snow. The snow really set the scene, and not only was it an important part of the plot and Lucas's fears and things like that, but okay, first of all, you can't have a holiday romance without snow. You can build snowmen in the snow, you can run away from people in the snow, you can chase other people in the snow, you can find beautiful, adorable lost things in the snow, so it just really sets the scene. And honestly, have you ever watched a holiday romance, movie or book, without snow? I haven't. When you can enjoy snow without actually being in the snow and freezing to death, that just makes it all the more wonderful. Either way, this one really delivered. I want to say it was like a Hallmark movie in book form, except it was way, way, way better. No, this isn't a book that will stick in your head and that will be particularly memorable, but when you're looking for a holiday romance, is that exactly what you're looking for? I definitely don't, and I don't think you are either. So as long as you're living in the present and you are in the mood for something so cliche and cheesy and predictable but not predictable, and just something you can swoon over and you know is totally fake, then this is the book you want to pick up. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more videos, and thank you for watching.